Greetings my dear friends, I hope you all are doing good. In this video I am going to discuss few out of my experience, few suggestions you can say for approaching the CFL and ISCA paper. What should be your mindset for preparation, how should you revise it, and how you should handle the paper, and what you need to do in the examination hall. So these things you can get from this video, and please share this with your friends so that it can also help them in enhancing the preparation. Let's get started. So, the CA final ISCA paper being the most theoretical one of the group 2, it requires some strategies to prepare. They are not big one, but the more small tiny things which you need to do day in day out basis. Other paper, though they are theoretical, it has some numericals in it, but this paper, other than fines and penalties, there is no scope for any numericals here, right? So what should be your mindset and strategy for preparing and revision for this paper? You need to understand that this paper is not having any amendments. It will be going in a sequential flow, and you need to remember that you must be open-minded while grasping the entire content. You can't keep on reading and try to remember it. People say that you try to mug up things, it will remember. No, you can't remember ISCA by mugging up. It is bit lengthy, so you need to be open mind and you must be able to visualize the things when you're reading it. First time if you visualize, second time you remember. And you must do a focused reading. What do I mean by focused reading? It means, suppose if you are reading management information system, MIS. For the MIS thing, you read the entire thing. You must be focused on the MIS. You must not divert to DSS or do some comparison kind of thing unless until you complete the MIS. It's a challenging task because it needs the person to understand, visualize, and then get into the matter. And you must be consistent, means daily you must fix a time, say morning 5 to 7 or evening 9 to 11. Some one time you must fix and you must be consistent in that time. Definitely you must study there. Then coming to the chapter sequence, here generally people do start from first chapter to the 8th or go from 8 to 1, but I didn't do that. What did I do? After doing one full round of understanding the entire syllabus, I followed a sequence. So this sequence, it's from chapter number 2 being the first one and then going to other chapters. So this the sequence thing I have done a separate video. I have given the link in the description box. You can see the chapter sequence, and it is up to you to follow that, but generally you can follow that sequence which will make the things in a pattern where you understand which chapter is coming why in one after one. And you can design your own sequence which you feel it's good, because if you keep on going from one to the end, you may miss few chapters in between, and by the chapter 5, which you all know the lengthiest one, you can't concentrate much. It's the lengthiest chapter of all the 8, right? Then here what ISCA needs is constant revision and consistent revision. Constant revision means daily you need to revise, daily at least 1 hour you must keep for ISCA. One may say daily if you're doing, aren't you mugging up? No, mugging up is something which we do keep on revising without understanding it. But here you're maintaining a time, you're saying to your brain that yes, this time is where I'll be writing one answer of ISCA, I'll be studying the content. Then it needs cumulative revision, means if you complete chapter number 2 today, let us say you completed till decision support systems, then tomorrow you continue it. First revise from the starting to decision support system and then go to that. Then you complete chapter number 2 and then go to next chapter, chapter number 3 for example. Revise chapter number 2 completely in span of 15-20 minutes and then go that. This is the reason why I created the last day revision book. I will show you the format of it, the extended new version of the book now. But still, if you have a certain revision pattern, okay, you need to follow that. One time you must fix, you must write one answer, do cumulative revision. Then side heading revision and noting them. Why this is important? Because in theoretical paper, if you have seen the correction of the ICI, they will focus on side headings and seeing what you have written. The inside content matters, but first they see how did you present the available content. They don't want the more knowledge of you in the paper, but they want to know how much you have kept in the paper. So you need to write the side headings and revise them. So how can you do the side heading revision? Of course, you can first take the either if you're following the practice manual, or you've taken my last day revision, or you have made your own notes, it's okay. What you need to do is to write those headings one by one on the top of the each page. Suppose if that page has 10 side headings, write them on the top. So what is the benefit of it? When you're revising the entire thing, when you're speeding up the completed chapter the next day, you will scroll through all the pages, and on the heading, on the top of the page, the side headings are available, so you need not glance the entire page. Once you try to glance the entire page, your mind will say this is important and that is important, and you may get bit confused and you get scared also. Instead of that, you can focus only on the top of the page having the side headings for the particular topic, and the revision is done. Isn't it great? Then make a 30-day plan. Generally, ISCA takes 25 to 30 days to revise once, if you're doing the first time or you're doing the third time also. The speed may differ, but you can take 30 days plan, taking 3 days for each chapter, exception being 5th chapter taking 5 days. 5th chapter is a big one, it has many things in that. You can take 30-day plan and make cumulative revision. What you can also do, keep 2 hours of time for your ISCA, and on the same day in the evening write one answer. Either you can take from the mock test paper or from the suggested answers, write one answer and see how much well you are remembering it. You need not reproduce the entire content, but minimum content will get you good marks there. Okay, so this is the strategies which you need for preparation. I hope you are liking it. Next one, let us see how you should approach the paper and what you should do and not do in the exam hall. This paper, I'm saying friends, this paper is such a kind of thing, it has no amendments, but it will amend you. If you don't change your pattern of approach to this paper, it is going to fry you off. We all know that, right? So let us now go to the next topic, being your approach in the examination hall. So what should be your approach in handling the paper? This paper you'll be attempting after writing the AMA, right? Advanced Management Accounting paper, then you go to it. So you'll be having approximately 1.5 day to revise, but I feel we use mostly 1 day. The day after the AMA exam is a bit tiresome. So what I say is that the balance day after the AMA exam you may at most have in your hand from 7 to 10 or 11, sometimes even 12, it depends upon your energy levels. You can revise the MCQs. You have seen that almost in my MCQ I have covered 400 plus MCQs in my ebook, as well as you have 2 videos of mine, and you can follow the either any MCQ which you are doing, but complete the MCQ thing, or what you can do, complete chapter 5, the big one. Complete the big one, at least one thing is done, because it holds approximate weightage for 10 to 12 marks in the examination. So do that thing off, and it has a lot of side headings. I'm saying right, it has a lot of side headings. So complete that, then complete MCQs in the available 3 to 4 hours on the day of AMA examination. The next day you can spend on doing the actual part. So what you need to do here, though it is not on the slide, I'm saying it off because I feel this is important. In your revision time, when you're revising the 30-day plan, do cover 2 years of RTP, means 4 attempts of revision test papers, which are available on the website, as well as cover 1 suggested answer, the just completed examination paper, question paper you'll have suggested answer, right? Take 2 attempts of that. So suppose if you're writing for May 21, I'm extremely sorry, May 21, you need to revise the suggested answers of November 20, and of course it is November 19, there is no May 20 exam. Then RTP for the 4 attempts. Do have a good grip while you're studying 30-day plan only, that you revise this part of chunk of RTP and mock test and the suggested answers on the day of AMA examination, the evening thing. On the next day, you can either do with the practice manual, or you can take any revision notes that you have prepared or you have bought, which you have read. Don't take any new notes. And the next day, once again revise this RTP and the mock test paper. This will give you a boost, kind of cushion kind of thing. You're covering the old, revising the old, and also recollecting all things required. Okay. Second, now you go to the examination hall, check everything. You get a theoretical paper. If you forget calculator, no problem, go to the examination hall, and when you take your seat, don't stick to the RTP or book till the end of the examination. I see people waiting outside the hall with the book. You can't remember those things what you read at the end. So close by 1:30, get inside by 1:30, take your seat by 1:40. 1:45 is the question paper being given to you. So there you will be having almost 300 seconds, 5 minutes, so 300 seconds. In that thing, Do 32-second breathe technique. Means take count 8 seconds while taking deep into your lungs, not into your stomach, the oxygen. Hold it for 16 seconds, do a counting, and release it through your mouth for 8 seconds. So that will give 32-second breathing technique, and this will calm your mind. Do it for 3 to 5 times, and no one will going to say anything for you when you do this. Okay, then take all your belongings, keep it ready, keep with your pen and paper. You'll be given the MCQ questions and the question paper. They ask you not to touch the MCQ question, nor write anything there, right? So don't in a hurry, don't tear the seal of the MCQ paper. That two things: one, you will be violating the rules if anybody comes for sudden checking, and you may be caught. Second, reading the MCQ as of now will not help you. Why? Because MCQ paper will have 2 to 3 case studies where you need to read the case study. If you have seen my last video in that case study thing, the case study will not give you any answer in the questions below. It will just give you a hint. So it will make you even more worried if you remember or not. That's the one thing. And in the MCQ, at most what can happen? Either you can write the correct answer or leave the MCQ or write the wrong answer. But in the theoretical part, if you write something well, you'll score well. So that is the practical thing. That's why don't touch the MCQ question paper. Come back to the main question paper for 70 marks. See the entire question paper. Don't panic the first one. Don't see the first question. Of course, it is not case study based, but still, see the entire thing. Try to recollect from which chapters he is asking, because he does a combination of chapters, and then see which question. It has sub questions, right? Which question, almost all sub questions you can answer, and to what extent remember the side headings and the content. Choose that one first. You need not choose the first one. Choose the one which you know well, which you can answer all the bits and remember most of the side headings. Suppose in case there is question number 5 which you know A, B, C, D you don't know, and A, B, C you know well, write that first, and D something you remember by that time. Write that, leave some space. Don't just start keep heading and leave on keeping the space. It will give a bad impression to the evaluator. And there is no rule to attempt the first question. He said first question is compulsory and mandatory, but not first question to be first. Write the question, each question end in one page so that it will give a good look, and try to maintain gap. Then try to complete the entire paper in including your hall ticket numbering, the signature, stamp, everything. Try to complete mostly in 2 hours 20 minutes, and keep 40 minutes for the MCQ. Then read the MCQ paper. Don't forget to do OMR thing for your MCQ and the question paper thing there. In the MCQ paper, read the para once perfectly, and keep on answering. Choose that answer which comes first. Don't do second guess for MCQ paper. I did lot of times second guess, and mostly later realized that the first answer was right. So don't do guesswork. Do take the answer which comes first in your mind. Okay, these all are fine. We all know that we are trying to remember this, but what's the speed of the answer? You must practice every day. 30 days, 30 answers you are practicing. The speed should be such that in 20 minutes you complete one answer. Maximum 20 minutes I'm saying. So 5 minutes for each answer. So 5 minutes for each bit in the question, and it has again subheadings there. So you must try to cover in such a way that you write all the side headings with at least 1 to 2 lines of content in that. That should be your speed. Then content length, I'll tell you an example. See here, for example, this is the sample of the ebook, the final version I'm trying to create. If you can see, it has been well designed and articulated, but it has mostly side headings. Almost it came to 200 pages, and also including May 19 and November 19 question paper also. Here, see, for example, this is the chapter number 5, which you can see a lot of content. Suppose you have been given the answer right about physical access control or environmental access control. That is fine. It is a medium size answer which you can formulate and write it. It's okay. Physical access is also fine. You can try to do it. But what will happen if the question comes for logical access control? Generally for logical access, they will not ask the entire logical access. They will add some bits and points in it, like describe the boundary control, describe the input control. If you see in November 17 exam, there is a question, I think 5th question or 6th one. There are 2 back and back questions saying that write about the input control, write about the output control. Just remember, you do not read chapter number 5 and you go there. It will be like what is input, what is output. I am in between. So that's why I focus more on chapter number 5. Let us see. Suppose you have given logical access control. So what does it contain? It contains first bit logical access path, issues and relevations related to logical access, and that again has many inputs in it. Then third one, it has even remote and distributed data processing applications. Third bit in the logical access has logical access control across the system. There are bits in it. In again there is again user man, there are many again ABCD in it again. If you can see, then there's a classification of functions. So logical access control from the function thing, if you can observe, it has again managerial control, quality assurance, application control. It's a hell lot of big kind of answer. If you can see here the side headings, input control, output control. So what should be your breakage point if they are something like that? Generally they don't, but if they do, suppose in case even if they ask write about input control, communication control, output control, how should be your answer? First you must write about logical access control, what is important for it, and then you must come down till here saying that this is a part of the application control where the application control are classified as so and so, in which we are discussing about 3: input, output and communication. Then you need to write the side headings and then describe 1-2 lines there. So you must try to be sure short of the answer. To be sure short, you must know side headings. For example, input control, it has 4: source document, data coding, batch control, validation control. Write these 4 and then write the side headings and then give one line in that. So that will increase your speed. Once you know the side heading, your speed increases. That's the reason I'm saying remember side headings and make a note of the side headings on the top of the book which you are reading or studying and revise them. Then last comes presentation of the paper. See, we have much discussed about the length, but what about the presentation? What I am saying is that when you receive the answer sheet, make a small fold on the right side of the paper for the entire thing. Just fold the right side part. It will form a margin for you. Need not draw with the scale, but it forms a margin. Then end your line every time in that. Okay. For example, you gave a word saying that highlighted. Don't take high hyphen lighted like that if you want to break the word, but don't take highly and ited in this next line. It will not give a good look there. So come till that end where you have folded the paper and write till last line. Don't write below it. And once the answer, the bit, suppose say 2A is completed, start 2B next page. Write on the center the answer for question number 2A. Keep it in a box with a pen only. No need to use any pencil, and write again. It may happen that 2A may end in 1/4 of the side page. You can leave the entire 3/4. You can give a PTO, come to 2B. Need not start 2B there. There's no problem. Okay. And last, at the end, strike off the paper there. Need not write any page numbers. I think it will be there. I'm going to recollect it. So these things, if you keep in mind, the paper will be easy for you. What you need is constant revision of the side headings. Know the content. Once the side headings are clear, content will become easy for you and you can draft it there. So this is what you required in attempting the paper, and being cool and calm will help you there. So these are my suggestions for ISCA paper. 32 seconds breathing technique, reading the question paper, recollect the side headings, focus more on side headings. Then the MCQ paper, write on the minimum length, maintain gaps in between thing, end the answer at the end of the page, complete the answer by the end of the page, and start a new one in the fresh page. This will give you the entire good look and you can clear the paper very easily. Hope my tips have helped you in getting an idea of how to write for the exam. The sequence list I will be drafting down. I will be giving the link in the description box for the sequence of the chapters which you need to follow. You can view that video, and also have given the links for the PDF thing which you can try to take it for your advantage. I hope I have given valuable insights to you. Thank you for listening and all the best.